Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this week's edition of our show. And this is Tackling Debt with Emelike Ukpabi. My name is Emelike Ukpabi, and I'm your host. So today we're going to be talking about budgets, budgets that actually work. I mean, I've tried budgeting over the years, and I always run into problems, sometimes abandoned it, never really worked out for me. So we just want to understand really what budgeting is all about and what really makes it work. But before we dive in, I'm just going to be talking about our $1 billion debt challenge. Now, this initiative, while it's open to everyone, is focused on supporting the Black community in Canada. Our goal is ambitious yet achievable, and it's to reduce the community's total debt by $1 billion in 2026. Now, the reality is that debt comes or continues to weigh heavily on our community. But imagine the impact if we could all collectively lighten that burden, freeing more families to save, invest, and contribute even more to Canada's growth. Now, that number may seem large, but let's break it down. If 100,000 families each reduce their debt by $10,000, we'll reach our target. And with over 5.4 million members of the Black community in Canada, we might even surpass that. So the topics we discuss here get towards helping you reduce your debt by at least $10,000 in 2026. We are still trying to develop a community-wide tracker, and that's to monitor our collective progress. In the meantime, you can start by, tracking your personal debt reduction, your progress, daily, weekly, monthly. Every small step counts. Okay, so let's just start by talking about budgeting that actually works. Now, I mean, most of us create a perfect budget on Sunday and break it by Wednesday. It's happened to me, like I said earlier on, right? Have you created a budget? How did that work for you? Is it really working for you? If not, why? Now, the problem usually isn't math. It's that our budget doesn't match reality. It doesn't match real life. I mean, that was my situation, right? Now, we have to remember that a budget is not a cage. It's a permission slip you give yourself, right? So you're telling yourself, how do I give every dollar a home or an assignment? So every dollar gets an assignment, so you know where this money is going to. Without a budget, it's easy for money to just get frittered away, and then at the end of the month or at the end of whatever pay period, you're wondering, where did the money go? Where did it go, right? Now, the reason why most budgets fail, sometimes it's fantasy. You're planning a life you wish you had instead of the one you actually live. For example, you could have some cuts in your food budget or Ubering, getting Uber out or eating out, but it's unrealistic. Another reason why budgets fail is the all for nothing thinking. So, if you have one unplanned purchase or make one mistake, and you're like, oh, I've blown it. So what makes no sense, continue with the budget, Or another reason why budgets fail is no system only willpower. You got to have a plan. You got to have a system. Willpower really doesn't cut it. Money has no plan. If your money if there's no plan for your money or an assignment for it, then it quietly wanders off. At the end of the month, you have no money left. No plan, right? Now, a budget is you deciding in advance what you want to do with your money. Think about that. What do I want to do with my money? My income, my take home, whatever it is, whatever it amounts to, what do I plan to do with it? Example, if you plan $120 in a month for eating out on Fridays at Captain Boyle's. I love Captain Boyle's, right? That's why I'm using that example. That's not bad. It's following your plan. You've earmarked that amount for eating out, and that's exactly what you're going to spend. So there's no guilt or no feeling that you've blown your budget. Now, when fun is built into your budget, those things that make you happy, that you have guilty pleasure, when it's worked into your budget, then it actually makes sense, right? You know that amount is earmarked for it. So let's get honest with our numbers before you dive into the budget. Please review your last 60 to 90 days statements, bank statements, whether it's TD, CIBC, Royal Bank, whatever, right? When I tried to look at my statements and I calculated certain things I saw there, I was almost in shock. I'm like, wow, why? Because I didn't have a plan. So look at what you really spend on groceries, eating out, transit, subscriptions, how much you're paying towards your debt. Get an actual number. Your bank statements will paint that picture. They will give you the real numbers, right? Then build a 1 month, or rather 1 page monthly plan, to include 4 items. 4 items, right? So the first one will be your needs. That's what I call the fixed cost. Your housing, if it's your rent, your mortgage, your groceries, your utility, your basic transport, and your minimum debt. These are things that you have to spend on every month, right? The next item will be your wants, which is your guilty pleasure, eating out, entertainment, streaming, shopping, and all of that, right? The third item will be, how do you attack your debt? Extra money you earn should be focused on paying off of debt, right? So that you have to have that item. And the last item you should have there is your savings, or what we call a buffer, an emergency fund, kind of, Well, you may call it, you're saving money towards incidentals or surprises that come in life, right? So as long as you have this, assign every dollar you take home into a bucket until you hit 0. Everything has to go into a bucket. So if it's not going into your fixed cost, if it's not going into your needs, your wants, or if it's not going into paying off debt, then it should be going towards your saving. There must be nothing left. That's how a budget works. You're giving an assignment to every dollar that you earn. Okay? Now, you can add sinking funds, which is the future you. If, let's say, you spend $1,200 fixing your car in a year, you could, from your savings, you could take out $100 and put it away every month towards that fund, so that when and if that happens, there's money to take care of it. You don't have to go into your savings or go into more debt just to fix that problem. Okay? Now, just to summarize, just to kind of drive home the point, the thing about budgets, or the main issue with the budget, is that every dollar has to have an assignment. Until you're budgeting to make sure every dollar has an assignment and is placed in those important buckets, then there's something you're doing wrong. Remember, it has to be realistic. So if you have a fixed income and then you have a side gig or an additional income, it could be overtime, could be whatever you're doing, could be Ubering, could be car detailing, could be whatever you're doing, right? Make sure you're being realistic. You cannot, unlike your fixed income, you can say, oh, okay, I'm expecting $10,000 this month from my fixed income, for example, or I'm expecting $3,000 from my fixed income. From your side gig or from your extra, unless it's an extra job, right? If it's a side gig, you can project, but you have to be realistic about it, because if you're not realistic and the numbers don't match at the end of the month or the end of the day, then that budget is going to fail. It will fail. So give every dollar an assignment, okay? Now, before we sign off from this episode, I just want to make a heartfelt appeal. Are you struggling with overwhelming debt? Are you feeling trapped, scared, or even ashamed to talk about it with friends, with family, because of how heavy it feels? Please know that you don't have to face this alone. Reach out to me and I can connect you with professionals who can help you without judgment. You can contact me at any time using the email below. It's right there. It's Emelike Ukpabi1@gmail.com. And if you're enjoying my content and you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel. Okay, I've got more things coming your way. You can also hit the bell, notification button, just to make sure you don't miss out on anything. And let's continue to grow on YouTube. Okay, so see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one. Bye.